and overseas to assist in their education journey. As Nyan was mentioning in the introduction, Education Centre of Australia is a very diverse group. We do have a number of different partner organisations within our group. So we do have Asia Pacific International College, which runs bachelor's and master's programs. We have Victoria University Sydney, which we have been operating for about the last 12 years. We also have Swinburne University in Sydney, which has been operating since September last year. ECA College for students that are looking to get into the vocational space. ELSIS for students who need assistance with their English. So we do have a very, very diverse course offering. Beyond that, we also have professional year programs for after students graduate. We also have internship programs. So all the students who are in our group do have the option of doing an internship free of charge. So I think what's actually been happening, I guess, in the market within Australia with the COVID-19 thing, or with the COVID-19 challenges, is we have just recently introduced a $5 million COVID support package for students, and we do have a variety of different scholarships available for offshore students. We do realize, and at the moment, Nepal, it's a little bit challenging times, obviously, with COVID, and you can't going through the lockdown periods and all those kind of elements. But we do have Saurav on the ground to assist you through your enrolment process in conjunction with our key partners such as ePlanet. So you're probably wondering about scholarships and those kind of things. At the moment, because we do realize that it's important for students to remain engaged in their study, so we are offering English for academic purposes as a complementary program for students that are interested in studying at either APIC, Victoria University Sydney, Swinburne University Sydney, or ECA College. So depending on your education background will depend on which program you can enroll in. So Saurav, do you want to talk a little bit about the scholarships on offer?
Yeah, thank you, Stephen. The EAP, the English program that we are offering right now onshore, is actually got 100% scholarship. Now, 100% scholarship is actually an amazing deal. So what we're trying to do here is, when you're in your lockdown, when you're sitting at home and you have an ambition of studying in Australia, okay, we're trying to get you prepped, and we're trying to get you covered if you have issues with English or while putting in your application. So I would definitely like to request all students through ePlanet, okay, to actually enroll in for this EAP now, so that you can take advantage of understanding, of course, what academic English is about, but even on top of that, you can also know what it is like to be studying in Australia, how lectures are delivered, how classes are run, so that you're not going to feel that pressure when you are in Australia in your first semester, when you're facing a lot of other pressures. So if you are a genuine student, if you are looking forward to study in Australia in the future, as and when things open up, the EAP would be a perfect perfect stage for you to actually, feel and experience how education in Australia has been, it happens. Okay, so once again, I'm sure ePlanet will probably pass on this message to all of you, and look forward to seeing you at the EAP classes. The classes begin 22nd of June. So please hurry up, please put in your applications and we can get going.
I think one of the important things there, and just following on from what Saurabh was saying, why is EAP valuable? It gives you an exposure to the Australian education system before you leave Nepal, firstly. The learning system in Australia compared to what happens in Nepal is significantly different as well. So what you have is essentially, you will learn what's the difference between a report and an essay, how to reference, how not to plagiarize, how to give presentations in the Australian system. It also gives you an exposure to a little bit of Australian culture, which is like Saurabh was mentioning. After you come to a new country for the first time, Australia is very, very different to Nepal. So when you do come to Australia, you'll probably be experiencing a lot of things for the first time. Things like maybe catching a train for the first time, or going to the beach, or those kind of stuff. It's very very fun and exciting, but there's particular systematic differences between the way that both of our countries actually operate. So those subtle things which you can learn, the soft skills, if you will, in Australia before you come to Australia, or actually should make your journey in Australia that much easier, I guess. The other scholarships that we have with Victoria University, we do have up to 25% scholarship, depending on which course you choose. Probably going to ask, how do I qualify for this scholarship? It's actually for students that meet the entry requirements. What courses do we have at Victoria University? We do have diplomas, a diploma of IT plus diploma of business enterprise. We also have, what else do we have? We've got a Bachelor of IT, we've got a Bachelor of Business majoring in Information Systems, we've got a Bachelor of Business majoring in Accounting. What else is there? Masters of Applied IT, Masters of Business majoring in Accounting, and what's the other one? Masters of Enterprise Resource Planning Systems. So the team at ePlanet have got all the details of the scholarships. They can run through the details of them and the entry requirements and those kind of things. The other scholarships available, Swinburne University. So we've got Masters of IT, majoring in cybersecurity and anti-hacking. I think this course now is very, very exciting given the current climate of the world. I think cybersecurity and anti-hacking, everything's online now. When I was talking to Saurabh 10 weeks ago, pretty much work from home wasn't even a thing in Nepal. Now everyone's kind of at home doing their second lap of Netflix and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think cybersecurity and anti-hacking, certainly with the world, with the new normal that's emerging, it's certainly a course of opportunity. That course has got a 30% scholarship, as well as the Masters of Construction and Infrastructure Management for students with a background within the engineering space. So that's got a 30% scholarship there. The other courses which will be super popular out of Nepal is at APIC. So technically not a scholarship, we've just gone back to the future with our pricing. with that one. So for 2020 intakes, we do have for Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Business Information Systems, $6,000 per semester. I think these prices go back to probably Nyan, maybe 2016, quite possibly, those kind of pricing levels, approximately.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And then we've also got the Masters of Business and Project Management for students with diverse backgrounds to enter into the postgraduate space as well. An exciting course, and this is about, this has just been released earlier in the week. We have got another higher education institute called the Higher Education Leadership Institute, or HELI. We have got a Masters of E-Learning, which is also very exciting for this particular thing. We do realize that students, that particular countries have done better, I guess, in the space of going online for their instruction. So anyone who's in that education space or in the IT space looking to put in the IT systems within an education institute, or they have a desire to be teaching within the higher education space, i.e. at the bachelor or postgraduate level, this would be a course for you. Education Planet won't have particularly much information about this course yet because I'm still to send that one out to them. However, it is a very exciting addition to the Education Centre of Australia family. It is a course which is being delivered in Melbourne. So if you're looking at a Melbourne location, it could certainly be a very exciting opportunity for yourself. And I do see this course as being a massive opportunity in Nepal at the moment because of the current COVID situation. It's highlighted that e-learning has got room for improvement within Nepal. So that kind of covers off the scholarships. We have put in a lot of student support as well. So big shout out to the student services team and those kind of student services team and the academic team who have been providing support to the existing students. Look, positive stories to come out. We've had the student services team organising grocery hampers and things like that for students over here. Also, Victoria University, Sydney, interesting story here. We've just moved to a block model of delivery. So we've just changed our method of delivery for for our undergraduate programs. And we had our orientation. Next week, the lockdown started and we were really worried going, oh man, is this actually going to work? We've just changed our method of teaching. We've just changed our method of teaching. And now we've had to roll out e-learning across there because of a lockdown. As a positive story, the results in the block model, we actually went from 85% pass rate in the previous, the comparable period the previous year, to about 95% for the first couple of blocks. So that's very, very exciting, and that's a testament to the teaching quality which is delivered within the Education Centre of Australia group. So very exciting stories there. Saurabh,
yeah.
Just I'll flick back to you, but what kind of questions have students and agents been asking you as an in-country manager in Nepal? So what are the key questions which have come up, which people like Nyan and Sabine have been asking you?
Is it for the, I mean, in the current situation or you normally? You're on mute, Stephen.
Yeah, sorry, just muted. I'm not usually that quiet, sorry. But
Yeah.
just in the corona situation. So I guess.
Yeah, I think the primary concern right now for everybody is what are the intakes that are going to be available, and because we're probably going to miss out on the closed ones. So yeah, for intakes, we have July intake as a normal intake, and we've also introduced a September intake. So hopefully you can make it there, or we have a November intake. We always do have that. So apart from that, I think it's the reality we're facing on the ground here. It's the same for all of us, for students, for our partners, for me. And the questions that we all have is when our situation is going to settle down? Is Australia opening up? Is our NOC in the plan of our government? And, you know, those are the things. What about online courses, offshore delivery? Yeah, those are the primary questions at the moment. So
Okay,
yeah,
I might address a couple of them as we're talking as well.
Yes.
So I think the key question there was, when is Australia going to open? Just today, earlier today, I think the Prime Minister of Australia was sending out some positive smoke signals, very indefinite in terms of when it's going to happen, but obviously international students do provide a very positive they're a positive influence on the on Australian society because of the international relations, multiculturalism, all those kind of things, but they're also very important economically as well. So international students are incredibly important for us, Australian prosperity, if that's an appropriate thing to say. So the indicators are that it'll be positive. The way that I see it, and I'm certainly not a government official at all, I think that there will be particular routes of flights which open up gradually. It won't be everything at the one time. It'll be similar to what's happening now. So how can I say? Flights to Australia and New Zealand look like the most likely to commence, and that'll be one of the first ones. Australia and New Zealand have the benefit of geography in a certain sense because we're isolated islands. However, that creates a certain amount of challenges as well when things open up again, because we're also isolated islands when things do open up. So to get from Nepal to Australia, it's either Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, or Malaysia, I think. So obviously we need those countries along the way to be safe as well. NOC, geez, I'll just park that one there. I'll let you guys sort that out with your government. And what was the other question that you mentioned as well, Saurav, the third one?
Yeah, the delivery, the online delivery, the
online delivery.
Yeah.
I think at the moment it's up to the students to actually demonstrate a positive engagement and a certain level of commitment to their studies as well. And the online delivery allows students to do that, like Saurav was mentioning before, and I was talking about as well, that we have the online EAP, 100% scholarship. if you don't want to commit to the individual units of study. But all of our brands are very, very capable of delivering offshore at the moment if you choose to do so. That's with the APIC, that's with Swinburne, that's with VU Sydney, with ECA College. So the options are there. Certainly by no means compulsory, but we do encourage students to do that. I think at the moment as well, and Nyan and Sabim will certainly agree with me here, is if you are engaging positively in your studies at the moment, that should be solidifying your claims as being a genuine student, as a genuine temporary entrant for your subsequent visa application. So I think at the moment there are opportunities for you to if you're writing on your statement of purpose, just rephrasing here, if you're writing on your statement of purpose, I did English preparation for my course. I learned all this, how to reference, how to give presentations, give assignments. That's much better than saying, look, I was sitting around at home playing Nintendo, waiting for the border to open. There's very much a different messaging behind the scenes there. Nyan, I'll throw it back to you. What kind of questions have you been getting from your students, from your staff, in relation to what's happening in Australia?
Well, thank you, Stefan, for your detailed information. Yeah, actually, these days we're having questions from our students, from our team members, like the first Saurabhji mentioned about it, like when the Australian borders will open for international students was the most primary questions for all students. And secondly, they asked us the options, like how we can actually enroll into the universities and we can continue our study in this pandemic time, like it's COVID-19. So there are a few university institutions, they're offering online courses as well. And the question is, if they start the online courses and once the application center open and border opens as well, and they make an application, right, for the student visa. And if they don't get the student visa, and what will be the fees they have paid to the institutions? That was the questions actually arise from the students as well. They are not worried about the tuition fees. Yeah.
I think one of the key thing in terms of refund, if there's a visa refusal after the students commence their study online offshore, is every university and institute's going to have a different refund policy on that particular scenario. And I think it's a little bit of an acknowledgement that, look, and an acknowledgement that the industry has actually worked very, very quickly and in a very agile way to develop, number one, the systems, number two, the delivery methods, and the level of support to actually deal with this scenario. Probably about 3 months ago, I was in Bangladesh, and at that particular time, there was no way. Look, we were planning for the worst case scenario at ECA, and we do every provider and university does have an emergency management committee there. We were able to deliver the online support and the online learning resource very, very quickly, because we weren't anticipating the worst, but we were planning for the worst. And that's actually what came up. I think for that to happen in a matter of weeks, and even simple things like not necessarily simple things, but pretty difficult things like most universities dealing with international students have geared their programs around face-to-face delivery for obvious reasons, because that was part of the visa requirement. But the academics have had to adjust a lot of their programs very, very quickly to support platforms like Zoom and those kind of things. So there's a lot of stuff that happens behind the scenes that students wouldn't have a clue about, or agents as well. But there's a lot of work that's gone through to deliver a product which students can actually still study, get results, have the level of support. I know students would prefer on-campus study, but it's also we've got to be in a position to deliver that in a safe way. It looks like semester 2. Looks like semester 2 2020 will be predominantly online as well, and that looks like that's because simple things like classroom layouts and things like that need to be redesigned because of social distancing requirements. It's kind of things that you take for granted, but there's a lot of planning around how much space you need between stuff to actually deliver safely for on campus.
Yeah. So Stephen, what do you think, like, when will be the face-to-face class in Australia, in your opinion?
Geez, do I really want to be quoted on this one? I don't know. I honestly think semester 2 will probably be more or less online.
Yes.
Best case scenario, I honestly think trimester 3 in the year. So that's the September, October, November intake, depending on what the program it actually is. So, but that's pure speculation. I'm certainly not the chief medical officer of Australia, and I'm not the Aussie government or that kind of stuff either. So yeah, so
but still,
pure speculation.
We can keep our hope. Like in max cases, like in worst cases, still there is a possibility to have online courses from semester 1 2021. I think it's better if we do that on September or November. But in a worst case scenario, of course, there will be chances to having an online face-to-face classes from first semester 2021.
As a positive as well, like the high school and primary school children have gone back full time, so that's usually a fairly good indicator that things are getting back to normal. I think universities have a lot of planning and those kind of things behind the scenes as well. Like I said before, classroom layouts and those kind of things. That's certainly something that will need to happen behind the scenes. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of planning around infrastructure, and obviously student comfort and safety is paramount. So we wouldn't risk that by coming back too early.
Yeah, fair enough.
Great. I think there's a question regarding Australia for Stefan.
Okay.
I was also watching the live session.
Multitasking, Stella. Very good.
Stella says, can we find jobs easily in Australia? That's, again, it's just to give an idea.
I think really depends on the industry at the moment. So at the moment, hospitality is only just beginning to open up at the moment. So restaurants and cafes and those kind of things have only just really begun accepting seated guests, I guess, for probably about a week and a half. Tourism at the moment has basically stopped for obvious reasons, because there's not there's not flights coming into Australia. And then there's a bit of a restriction between across state borders as well. So that when that clears up, there at the moment in New South Wales, the government is actively promoting lots of short day trip type events. Yeah, lots of day trip type events. So I'm actually based out of the Blue Mountains, about probably about 70 or 80 kilometers out of the Sydney CBD, the business district. Our mountains are a little bit smaller than your mountains, but yeah, still there. But it's one of those close regional communities where people can get in and amongst nature and that kind of stuff. So last weekend was the first time that the restrictions had actually lifted. And let's put it this way, the highway which goes through the middle of the mountains wasn't particularly much fun as a local driving through. Are jobs easy to find? I think the answer itself is very similar to what's happening in Nepal at the moment, where there is lockdown and where there's restrictions. There'll be a lot of unemployment is actually going up for locals, but then as that happens with every kind of evolution or revolution of work, there's other opportunities which emerge as well. So at the moment, it is pretty tough, but moving forward, who knows what actually becomes available. Australia is very reliant on international students. Also, we have a very big tourism industry. I do suggest that when Nepalese lockdowns lift, that you have a look at hospitality training and those kind of things, making a good cup of coffee. Big shout out to Himalayan Java, one of my favorites in Nepal when I visit through there, usually double espresso. But anyway, if you can make a good cup of coffee, if you know how to interact with customers in a cafe or restaurant scenario, you should be fairly employable within the major cities in Australia. Hopefully that answers the question. I think it did.
Stephen, I have a question for you. Like, it's a general question, but most of this is the time to people from the 12th grade or for the degree or bachelor, they want to know about lots of institutional choices are there to the people there for the students now, and just want to know from the part of students, like students want to know it about what is the uniqueness of ECA for the international student. They should think of ECA first and choose the other choices, because these are the normal questions I have heard from the lots of the students.
Yeah. So we're an end-to-end provider. We've got everything from English through to diploma, undergraduate degree, postgraduate degree, professional year, internships. This is where sorry.
No problem.
Very kind of internships are very important for international students. We do offer them free of charge to anyone that's in the group.
Okay.
Well, one of the key points, which isn't necessarily known particularly much about ECA, is the chief executive used to be an international student himself. So
Wow.
a lot of the student-centric things that we do within the organization is built around the challenges which the chief executive has experienced themselves. Most people within the organization have been international students themselves.
Wow.
Not me. I'm actually a local Aussie, but I've been in the international education sector now since 2003. So very, very experienced with dealing with the international community. If you have a look at the type of courses that we do offer, they generally do provide very, very good education and employment outcomes at the other end. Okay, so that's courses in demand, the ones that are popular with the international students, and we're very experienced in the international student space.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. One
Hey,
question.
Saurav, do you want to
Yeah.
jump in on that one, or
Yeah.
have I forgotten anything there?
I'd just add probably for all Nepalese Bhai Bahinis, ECA is like a home away from home for you. Okay, basically the main reason being our CEO was an international student. A lot of our people have been international students. We understand the pressure, the pain, and we have solutions for everything like that. So right from the right courses for you to study, to the affordability, to the location of our campuses, to our flexibility, the new way of teaching that we have for you, okay? Everything actually is catered towards making your life good and also your future secure in Australia and abroad. So that's why I think we should be, that's why, I mean, a lot of students from Nepal I've seen select ECA, and they're one of their partners. I've been around the country. I've been getting feedbacks from students who've already been there, from students who actually want to be there because of somebody they know that already there. Okay, it's like an amazing feeling. Like when you go out, when I go out representing my brand, I feel good because there's so much satisfaction. In Australia, there's a big thing called a retention rate. Okay, now this is I don't know whether I should mention it or not. Retention rate is the rate of students sticking to an institution when they go. Okay, and we have the highest rate. That's because everybody is happy. Okay, they're well taken care of. We have internships in place for them. We have placements for them. The tie-ups with organizations in Australia, local companies, multinational companies, international companies in Australia, and I think that gives our students the edge.
Can I just jump in on that that point with the internships? It's one thing to talk about being industry linked, but the metrics which ECA have delivered, 2019, we placed about 1,900 students in internships, which is a massive obligation, massive outcome for achievement and outcome for the people involved. We've got 15 people working full-time behind the scenes, placing students into internships. That's in Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne, and that's across the variety of institutes that we have. So it's very well to talk about being industry linked. A lot of providers do talk about that, but 1,900 placements in professional internships is not an easy thing to do, but it's certainly something that we've achieved. Probably won't be at that level in 2020, given the current set of challenges, but yeah, we're certainly looking at the internships and the outcomes. We do recommend students do that. Simply because the way that life works in Australia, everyone will go, oh, wow, it's great that you're a computer programmer in Nepal, but what local experience do you have? What's the way of getting local experience? The local experience is available through internships for a lot of the time. And it's a very good networking opportunity for students as well.
Okay. Stephen, there's a question.
Sorry for,
Okay. From Bidur Shrestha in our Facebook Live. Will the 2019 passed out student will be eligible for 2020 Jan Feb intake for bachelor? This is the question from Bidur Shrestha from Facebook.
2021, I think, not a.
Yeah, 20 eligible for 2021.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The indicators are that they will. Yeah, the indicators are that they will be. I guess students now who you haven't really got a choice at this particular time, given the global shutdown. So I think that's one of the big challenges now. But having said that, it's also an opportunity for you, Bidur, as well. Now's your opportunity to enroll in that EAP course. Start doing your research on what you really want to do. Doing lots of research, coordinating with the guys at ePlanet. Nayan and Sabine here are here to assist you with those choices. And I think at the moment there is an opportunity to be engaged in that in the process, much more than when everything's a rush, like, oh my God, I need to go to Australia type thing, which I've seen happen in the past in Nepal. I think now is the really the time to engage with people like Saurav, Sabine, and Nayan to make the choice and do the research about what you really want to do and why you want to do it. So take the opportunity. Look, Netflix gets boring after a couple of months, and start doing your research about number one, what do you want to do? Number two, what destination do you want to do it? Going into those details and being engaged in the process, enrolling in things like the free EAP program that we have to get started and support your studies in the future.
Yeah, I'd just like to add to that. I'm sure, I mean, the world is stuck due to the pandemic. So everybody, the world over, it's going to be 2019 graduates applying for 2021. But what you can do, Bidur, and the rest of the students online out here is you can work towards making your profile stronger. Okay, that's, I think, very, very important. If you want to be seen as a student who is actually very much genuinely interested in studying in Australia, start preparing accordingly. Okay, and our EAP, that's actually right now coming at absolutely 100% scholarship, tuition fee for you. That could be one good point where you will take the EAP, and when you're actually applying for your visa, probably late 2020 or 2021, you will have something written in your statement of purpose. Okay, and that is that I now understand how things go around in the Australian education system because I took 6 weeks or 12 weeks of EAP. Okay, so that's how you can go ahead and build a stronger profile because you know how important the SOP is. And I think your focus should be towards making it stronger. Just writing, oh, there was a global pandemic, everybody's going to write that. All right, so it's just going to be a normal thing. So yeah,
painting a positive out of a negative, I think, is the key point which Saurav's mentioned there. Look, the situation is uncontrollable, but what you do with that situation is very important.
Okay, Stephen, other question what I have, like if some students they got the offer in Feb 2020 for offer letter for Feb 2020, and due to this condition, like there's a differ, obviously there's a differ, right? And what about the gap for those students? Is there a problem for those students who had received the offer and due to there's a gap in between in the education period?
I think the definition of a gap is very, very important.
Obviously.
Can a student control a global pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
Probably not. Definitely not.
Okay.
I think that's a very important acknowledgement, and it goes back to what Saurav was saying before. What are you doing in the meantime? Are you making your profile more positive? Are you engaging? Are you researching? Are you doing the EAP programs? Are you looking at? There's a couple of, and this is something that students may want to look at as well. Is online. The latest college within the ECA group is an organization called IT Masters. So these guys offer a variety of short programs in the postgraduate space, which will give you a feeler as to what studying a master's is like in Australia as well. So the student can do a variety of different short courses. There's endless amounts of information online as well. And these IT Masters, it's underwritten by Charles Sturt University. So they're courses together with CSU Online. And look, I've been doing the programs myself, and they're really, really good quality. And there's also resources there in terms of study skills, that kind of stuff. Predominantly in the IT space, but there's a bit of project management, there's a bit of business in there as well. And look, might be a pandemic, but it doesn't mean I need to sit around and do nothing all day, I think is the key point. Any other questions there?
Even we have our councils there, like Srishti and Charisma is there, Stefan. Even if I would like them to be have a questions. If you have Srishti and Charisma, if you have a question, you can raise your questions to Stefan. Even Saurav sir is there. Saurav sir is always there with us. Stefan will be in sometimes with us, but Saurav sir will be helping us. If you have a question, you can raise it up. If not, then obviously Saurav sir is there to help us within any call.
Hello, sir. I have only one question. There's one question for educational gap. So is there any issues if a student have 4 to 5 years gap to study master's program?
Depends on what they've been doing in the meantime. That particular case wouldn't be, look, there's been a global pandemic, because it hasn't been around for 5 years, thankfully. Depends on what they've been doing. Look, the COVID pandemic has only been around for 3 months, probably. Look, they'd probably have to justify the 4.5 years before that, rather than the pandemic period. And it depends on what they've been doing. Once again, sitting around doing nothing wouldn't be a good thing. But then also being very honest with what was being done is also very important to paint that picture for the admissions team.
Okay, that's another one question. So what are the graduate employment ratio of ECA?
Geez, graduate employment ratio, I think, couldn't actually give you an exact figure here. I wouldn't want to make one up. However, looking at the internship rates, it's very, very high. If you look at who gets placed in industry there, and a lot of the students do get opportunities out of that. I couldn't give you an exact figure, and I wouldn't want to lie to you either. So something that we'd have to take on notice. Something that we'd have to take on notice and get back to you. But I'm sure there is a number somewhere. I just don't have it off the top of my head, and I don't want to be making something up.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anything else? I would like to ask you, would you tell the students who are watching currently what subjects or what institutions your sorry, sorry, I'm very sorry for that.
Take two.
What
Let's go.
What institutions you are presenting currently, and what are the subjects they are providing?
Okay, so we've got APIC, which has got Bachelor of Business and Bachelor of Business Information Systems. It's also got Masters of Business and Project Management. We represent VU Sydney, which has got Bachelor of Business majoring in accounting, Bachelor of Business majoring in Business Information Systems, and what's the other one? IT, Bachelor of IT. We've got a Masters of Applied IT, Masters of Enterprise Resource Planning Systems, Masters of Business majoring in accounting, and also Diploma of Business and Diploma of IT. Swinburne, we've got Masters of IT, 12-unit cognate background, and a 16-unit non-cognate background, both majoring in cybersecurity and anti-hacking. We've got a Masters of Construction and Infrastructure Management. ECA College, Graduate Diploma of Management and a Graduate Diploma of Engineering, plus a variety of different diplomas under that. We've also got a Masters of E-Learning at the Higher Education Learning Institute, as well as English for academic purposes, totally free of charge for students that are interested at the moment for the June 22 intake. Yeah, did I cover everything, Saurav?
Yes, I think you have covered everything. What is the fee structure for Swinburne University's master's programs in Sydney?
Hey, Saurav, do you want to cover that one, because I've forgotten?
Yeah. So, well, actually, there is we have 3 courses, as you know, okay, and we have 2 masters of IT degrees, where the Master of IT for non-cognate 16 unit, okay, is I think I don't have it as of thing around. I'm absolutely sorry. I have to
hang on. No. We got it here. Look at that. Yeah. I did a presentation earlier this morning. So Masters of IT, Masters of Construction and Infrastructure Management, after the scholarship is 13,118 per semester. Masters of IT with the non-cognate background after the scholarship is 12,166 per semester. And Masters of IT Professional Computing is $9,124 and 50 cents per semester for 3 units.
No, it's totally reasonable. Yeah, for students, for those who are looking for master's courses like in IT, definitely the fee structures is quite reasonable compared to other universities.
Cyber security and anti-hacking can't be underestimated at in the current world, I guess is the right word.
Yeah.
So any final questions, guys? It's been an absolute pleasure being online.
Hello.
Oh.
Hello, Stephen, and hello, Saurav.
Hey.
I'm Karishma here. So, so I have one question So regarding the if the student has if the student will get offer letter with ELICOS, can they able to take ELICOS class without NOC, because Nepal government is not issuing NOC right now. So is there any probability you guys have?
There's a generally they would need to get a COE. However, the Nepalese situation is very, very unique. And you guys have a certain set of challenges that don't exist in other regions within the subcontinent. So you've got the global pandemic and the financial shutdown as well, which is one of the challenges there. I think NOC, NOC, organizations like ECA, NIA, ERI, FECON, NECA. Have I covered everyone?
Yes.
Almost you did
it. And any new agents associations that might emerge over the next week, that they should be putting pressure on your government to allow for students to invest in their education.
Yeah, in Charisma's questions, what I want to cover here, like if students are free to study ELI course in Nepal, and they don't need to apply for the NOC, because this is a free course. NOC is required to pay the tuition fee through the banks. So they can study without the NOC. Once they finish the NOC, once they enroll into the particular course like bachelor or masters, and at that time, they need to apply for NOC to pay the remaining tuition fee for the further semesters. So there is no issues of NOC for time being to start the EAP free course, which is offered by Education Center Australia. This is great opportunity for our students.
Yeah.
I think
intake is 20 seconds, June. So probably, you can have all your students go in for the EAP right now. Sorry, Stefan, I just explained. It's a real deal. There will be real classes, like 4-hour classes, a break, 4 hours. Okay, 6 weeks to 12 weeks will depend upon their level of English. And now the level of English can be tested by the IELTS TOEFL PT they've given, or if they would need to be tested, we have the VU placement test. So they just need to sit down just like us, alone in the room. The placement test will take place, and it's Wednesdays and Thursdays, and they will be given whether they will require a 6 weeks or a 12 weeks course, and they can go ahead and do it. And this can actually help them in the future. They will need to have an IELTS, PT, or TOEFL for the visa requirements. But if they have a band list, they've already done the EAP. They don't need to go to Australia and do an EAP of 6 weeks or 12 weeks. That's like 3.
And I'd like to just piggyback on one of the things that Saurav just said. It's not a Mickey Mouse cutback version of EAP. It's the real deal. So I think that's very important as well. We want to give the students a genuine experience. We want to give the students a genuine learning outcome with this particular program. And it is actually a large investment from the ECA side, because every week of ELICOS, if you were to come to Australia and do the same thing, is about $380 per week. And altogether for a 12-week program, it ends up being about $4,500, which is a massive outlay for potential outlay for the student.
Yeah. One last question is like many other universities and institutions, they are accepting IELTS and PT scores for 3 years at this time. So what about ECA? ECA will also do the same, or
yes,
they only accept the 3 years PT? It's 3 years acceptable.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
So I think we covered questions. Is there any questions here?
One question from Raj Keshi in our live. Do we have PhD in tourism tourism? This was the question.
PhD
Yeah.
in tourism.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Wow.
that question.
That's very specialized. That's very specialized. Unfortunately, within the Education Centre of Australia group, we don't have any PhDs. But it's a very good question to be asking, but it's a very good opportunity to be doing lots of research about the course. So we don't offer it, but what I can recommend for Raj is have a look at the university, have a look at their standing that do the PhD in tourism. Look, it's a very specialized course. You'll know what exactly you're looking for in terms of a program there, because it is highly specialized. Have a look at the university, have a look at their reputation, have a look at all those kind of items as well, before you actually decide to commit to a particular university. Very, very interesting program. I think a lot of people would like your skills at the moment, particularly when the lockdown opens up.
Yes.
Yeah. I think there's one question we missed by Tulsi Kadel. Says, what about the July intake?
Yeah.
We're still going ahead with the July intake. If you're currently in Nepal, you would have the option of doing the free EAP. You would also have the option of doing the online assisted online learning program, which we have. So we've got options. Saurav can take you through those options in conjunction with Nayan, Sabin, and Krishma, who will certainly be there to assist you in making the right choices. I think a lot of, I guess the internet connectivity as well in your particular location at the moment could kind of influence that decision as well. What infrastructure access that you have. Just a big shout out again to that HELI program as well with the Masters of E-Learning system. So that can be something that's interesting in the future as well. But please reach out to the team at ePlanet. Please reach out to Saurav, and we'll be more than happy to help you make the right decision for your situation.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Stefan, and thank you, Saurabhji, for today's session, and thank you for organizing your valuable time to give information to our students and those who are watching our live sessions. And thank you all for joining us. And if you have any questions and queries relating to your study abroad, like study in Australia, study in ECA, please do contact us through Facebooks or do phone calls and other means of communications activities, so that we can guide you further. Thank you very much. Thank you all. Thank you for your support. Stay safe.
Dhanyabad.
Thank you very much, guys. It was really, really nice and informative time. Thank you, Stefan, for your time, and thank you, Saurav, in the last minute. You were there. Thank you very much.
No worries. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone.
Okay,
Bye.
enjoy your time. Enjoy safe. Be safe.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Stay safe.
Okay.
Take care.
Take care.